Yeah, away we go on a Friday edition, Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you live from Black Hawk Country Club for the annual Putts for Pups golf outing here. Putsforpups.com is the website if you'd like to make a donation to the Dane County Humane Society. Josh has taken my seat in the Groover Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee, where Will Sommers is as well running the show. Joshy, did you not want to sit in your normal seat? What was the seating arrangement here? Walk me through it.
There's a very logical reason, so I can see the screen I'm looking at you on right now.
How do I look? It's golden hour. I can see the lake. It's beautiful
not
here at
golden
Black
hour.
Hawk Country Club. You're right. It's not. It's
nowhere
technically not golden hour. You guys are right.
No, you look like a bum.
Oh, that's unnecessary. Here at the Putts for Pups golf outing again, putsforpups.com is the website to make a donation. All proceeds go to the Dane County Humane Society. All right, plenty to get into today, as obviously we've got a game coming up Sunday between the Packers and the Browns. Week 3, 2-0 Packers, 0-2 Browns. We've got Tucker Kraft to get to. We've got injuries to get through. We've got to talk about Micah Parsons and his role in this game. We will make our Week 3 picks. All the in-betweens, we'll get to all that. We'll get to that. But we've got to talk about something because on Wednesday's show, we started it with Josh's unbelievable run he's on. I didn't know this was coming today, which I think makes it better. I think this may have been by design, but Josh's run has continued. So on Wednesday, we went over some audio, and Will, I don't know if you have it other than the version that you ripped and made it about yourself, which was well done by you, as Joshy befriended ESPN NFL Nation insider Adam Schefter. And at the beginning of the conversation, he said it was very nice to see Josh at the big boy table. And at the end of the conversation, he gave Josh a compliment by saying, "Keep up the good work, Josh." Now today, we get an email.
You skipped one, actually.
Oh, yeah, yesterday.
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah, why don't you tell us?
Milwaukee Brewers COO Marty Wronski said that I was the greatest human ever. As well. So, just two people in high places paying me high praise.
Yeah, apparently that's deserved, because today I get an email as I'm driving out to Madison, and I'm actually not going to make fun of him on this one because it's well-deserved. Josh DiMaggio officially promoted to executive producer of ESPN Milwaukee. Happy for you, Joshy. Well-deserved. Congratulations, but this has got to stop.
I think this is, well, first, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Secondly, I think this is going to be it for a little bit here.
I think so, too.
I've thought that for a while, though, and it seems like things just keep happening, but we're appreciative. We're keeping our nose to the grindstone, and we're just getting started, baby.
Have a great one, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, everybody. Keep up the good work, Josh.
Keep up the good work, Josh. And he did so much good work in the matter of 48 hours. We said, yep, we got to get promoted. Got to get promoted.
To promote this
Keep
guy
up the good work, Will.
So no better job to announce that and express our excitement and our joy for Joshy here on episode 300 of Mr. Relevant. I missed that off the top. We celebrated our 3-year anniversary last week, or 2-year anniversary, I guess it would be, but episode 300. The person besides me who has been on the most of these episodes, Hunter Vaughn, isn't even here. So, I mean, that's just a state of this program. But, Joshy, I guess you take third place. So, thanks for being here for the last year plus as we celebrate you as the executive producer of ESPN Milwaukee. We celebrate episode 300.
Josh, with all your good fortune coming, can we expect a cake for episode 300?
Meaning I would purchase a cake for you guys?
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
no.
but let's do it for episode like 304 or something,
Nah, I don't think you guys are in cake territory yet.
What about pie for episode 314 coming up in a few weeks?
No, I don't want to be engaged in something so corny.
Cupcakes?
No cupcakes.
Dang. Thought that would work.
Josh, what are you doing in your new job? Are you in charge of me and Will now?
I will eventually be managing Will.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, that is a fact. You're a big enough problem around here that they need someone even above my status here that I'm not gonna manage you directly. Maybe in things directly related to your job on KBN, but it's not gonna be like you're not gonna be answering to me.
Okay. Does your job change in regards to this show?
None whatsoever, except for
so you are not like you're not the executive producer of Mr. Relevant. You're still the co-host.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Okay. I probably could have asked you all these questions off the air, but I think it's better on the air.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we're appealing to 20% of our audience again. Maybe even less.
Everybody say congratulations, Josh. In the chat right now, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison on YouTube. I need to cough, so Josh, talk.
Well, that's always a great way to set you up.
Great segue there.
Now he's taking a little sippy of his
All right,
water
I'm back.
there.
I'm back. All right, everybody say congratulations, Josh, in the chat. ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison on YouTube. All right, let's get into it. Good for Joshy. He's had a great week. He's had a great couple of months, and now he's officially the executive producer, but not of this show. He remains in the co-host chair. Will is here. Will, how you doing ahead of NFL Week 3?
I'm feeling good. I'm nervous. This is basically the regular week cycle for Bears fans. It's like Monday, Tuesday, you're sad, and then by Wednesday, you think things might look up, and then by Friday, you're all in on the win.
So you think they're going to win?
Yeah. I'm not confident that they're going to win, but I have to convince
He's
myself.
never going to learn, Josh. He's never going to learn.
We never do. It's the nature of Bears fans. Have you ever met a Bears fan?
Not an intelligent one,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
exactly.
Definitely not an intelligent one. Yeah, that is a fact, and that will remain a fact. All right, let's get into this. Let's start with Tucker Kraft. So news comes out yesterday that the third-year tight end had left yesterday's practice due to a left knee injury, and it was immediately reported by Ian Rappaport and Rob Demovsky as thought not to be season-ending. So whenever you see those words, Joshy, typically it sets something off, right? It sets off the antenna, and it makes you go, huh, that's not good, that it's being reported by national reporters as local reporters are kicked out of practice after like 20 minutes every day. This happened during the team drills, and he was undergoing further tests were the words being used, so that made me think, this is going to be like an 8 to 10 week thing. He might end up on injured reserve. Then late last night, or I guess early last night, Adam Schefter then talks to two different sources who say, yeah, no worries. I mean, he dodged a bullet effectively. And then today, Matt LaFleur says he actually won't even rule him out for Sunday against the Browns, but he didn't practice today while doing rehab off to the side. I would assume he doesn't play. But to me, it looks like, to say it again, he dodged a bullet. I mean, he's got a knee injury, but he's not going to miss extensive time. But it does worry me a little bit. But it's good news that it happened early in the season, not late in the season. I think that's where I've pigeonholed myself.
Yeah, I mean, the initial tweets had me thinking the absolute worst. We're talking ACL. We're talking some surgery needed. Not being placed on IR, I think, is an important portion here, because if it was even close to that, they probably just say, screw it, put him on the IR. We've got some time to bring him back. We got a bye week in here. We'll be fine. But him missing today and probably missing this week makes me a lot less concerned, and the idea of it just being a tweak. And let's be honest, it's the Cleveland Browns. You aren't going to have your full complement. He certainly would be nice chipping Myles Garrett. That would certainly be an advantage for the team. But the Packers can go into Cleveland and get out of there with a win without a guy like Tucker Kraft, because as we've been talking about, as you talked about this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, the plans is Super Bowl. The hopes are Super Bowl. So week 3 against the Cleveland Browns is not to be dismissive of a game. You can lose every single week out there, but it's not on the top of your priority list. When you're looking down the season and what your hopes and dreams are for the season, you just rest him. You play it cautious. If he needs to miss 2 weeks, that's fine. And just, it is disappointing because it seemed like it was his coming out party, and now he's going back on the shelf. And who knows, once we get more clarity, like, it might be a slow ramp up here for him after he comes back and is, quote unquote, fully ready to go.
Yeah, so you mentioned the breakout, right? Because obviously last week a career-high 124 yards. He had that huge, I think it was 57, 58-yard catch against the Commanders on Thursday Night Football. It seemed like he was really starting to get the ball rolling. And it's something you and I have talked about for months at this point, was this feels like the year that Tucker Kraft can go from good tight end to one of the best tight ends in the National Football League. He could elevate himself into that conversation amongst the George Kittles and all the in-betweens, the really good tight ends, the premier tight ends in this league. And last week was a really good step in the right direction if he was going to put himself in that conversation. And now all of a sudden it seems like it will be derailed, at least for the time being. The hard part is we don't know when he's going to come back. And we don't know what the injury is outside of left knee after Matt LaFleur spoke with reporters earlier today.
Wait, were you asking me something there?
I was just letting you cook, man.
I thought you were continuing your thought. I was listening, and then you just kind of finished the thought midway through.
All right, I'm starting to think us in different locations isn't a good idea. Thoughts?
Thoughts?
I think even if you were here, that would have been played out the exact same way.
I disagree with that. I felt like I was rambling. I was mentioning the breakout. I was mentioning how it's been derailed, and then you just didn't say anything.
Well, yeah, because I said all the things. You repeated what I said, and then you wanted me to add to what you repeated of me saying in the first
I didn't
place.
repeat anything.
I thought we lost you there for a second or something.
You basically said exactly what I said, but just more words around it.
I'm not liking the whole executive producer thing going on here.
You didn't add anything to it, so I didn't think I needed to comment.
All right. So, you worried or not?
No, I'm not worried at all. I thought I made that clear in the first place, but I guess we're going back to it. There isn't any real challenging games. There isn't any absolute necessity. Had the Ravens or the Eagles been on the schedule in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'd be much more worried because I think he is essential to a game script like that and a game that's going to be tight. But this gives the opportunity for some of the guys like Romeo Doubs, Matthew Golden, and Dontavian Wicks to kind of get a groove going here with the absence of Jayden Reed, because I think in a perfect world, they're going to be using a whole lot of Tucker Kraft, even with Jaden Reed in or out. But now they can kind of get a thing going here, get some rapport. We've seen Jordan Love miss Matthew Golden. So there's going to be more opportunities for those guys in the wide receiver room than there would have been without him. And we've already pronounced him as not making the game. We don't know that for sure. Even if he does play, he's probably not going to play a full complement and run the normal amount of routes. So there's going to be more opportunity for some of those guys that we've been talking about seemingly all offseason having a real opportunity to make an impact on the offense, to finally hopefully see somebody surpass the Jaden Reed, get over 1,000 yards. It's all now there in front of these guys.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think, and by the way, Kay Strudes on the ESPN Madison YouTube page says rambling is an accurate word to describe what I just did there. So if you guys need any more backup, there it is from Kay Strudes.
I'm glad I wasn't alone on that. I was like, was I just not paying attention? But then I was thinking back to what you said.
Even the way he ended his sentence, like even if he said it at the beginning.
I did kind of end on a crescendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. No, you did.
It's great to be outside on a Friday. It's great to be in Madison, where this show began here at episode 300. It's great to be looking over. Elaney, is that Lake Mendota or Monona? Okay, she doesn't know which one. All right.
Good
That's
job.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is good. I believe that's Mendota.
What golf course are you at? I can Google it here for you.
I'm at Black Hawk Country Club. It's Mendota. I was right. I've been given the thumbs up. It's great to be here, but I'm just I'm a little off my game right now. Joshy's in my chair. He's getting promoted to executive producer. People are telling me he's the greatest human that ever existed. It's not necessary. It's not jealousy. Look, I love my job. I don't want an executive title in front of it. But
I thought your sentence was done there again.
Who breaks out? Who do you have breaking out in the absence of Tucker Kraft? The likely absence, I should say, on Sunday, as Tucker Kraft doesn't seem like he'll go against the Browns. Coach Matt LaFleur says he will give them until game time. It feels like, and we talked about it this morning a little bit on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, it feels like the Matthew Golden breakout game is coming. I just don't know if it's Sunday, given that I don't know how long Jordan Love will have to throw the football going up against a guy like Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I think there's certainly opportunity for it to be Matthew Golden, but I think the guy they trust the most and is going to see the largest increase in snaps is Dontavian Wicks. He's looked really good in the first 2 games when they have used him and utilized him in a spot as more than just sort of a blocking wide receiver. I expect him to be sort of the additional steady Eddie next to Romeo Doubs with a little more explosiveness. Certainly the targets for Matthew Golden will probably increase, but is it going to be enough to have the breakout? Like, short of him having a 50-yard touchdown, I don't see him garnering enough targets for us to be like, oh, that was a breakout. But if he had like 4 catches for 58, 60 yards, we'd all be like, yeah, it's good to see him getting in the right direction. It's just probably not a breakout. I think Wicks is going to see the most added targets. And even then, there's a scenario where this game ends up where the Packers have a three-score lead early in the third quarter, and then it's like, hey, Chris Brooks and Emmanuel Wilson, time to go earn those paychecks because we're going to try and salt this game away.
Hey, hold on a minute. We don't do Chris Brooks slander on this program.
That wasn't slander.
You think he's only going to be on the field at the end of the game? He was on the field in crucial situation catching footballs in a one-score game against the Commanders last week. They love Chris Brooks, as do I.
Right, but you don't think that in the event that they're ahead by a lot that he would see more touches and targets than he would during, a close game?
Okay, fair point.
I think that's just common sense. Like the second string guy in any blowout game is going to see the ball more.
Yep. Kind of how they do this whole thing.
Is that how they do that? Well, here's the thing. So we're all kind of stuck on it, and we'll get back to the injuries because I do want to talk about the long-term effects of having no Jayden Reed a little bit more than we did on Wednesday. But everybody seems to be predicting a blowout. Everybody seems to be saying the Packers are going to win by 3 scores. The Packers are going to blow out the Browns. It's not going to be pretty because the Packers have been what I believe is the best team in the NFL through the first 2 weeks. 2 very impressive wins that were dominant from start to finish against the Lions and the Commanders. You're totally sold this game is a blowout despite it being on the road, despite playing a good defense who's been the best rush defense in the NFL through 2 weeks, despite playing debatably the best defender in football in Myles Garrett. I have no faith in the Browns offense. I think you and I can agree on that. But do you think this could be like a low-scoring slugfest that we're just missing? Because I don't know that that's completely ruled out in my head.
I think there is a 15% chance of that happening. I think there is a non-zero chance that the Green Bay Packers defense outscores the Cleveland Browns offense. And I'm not making comments to be funny. I legitimately believe that.
You legitimately believe there was a non-zero chance?
Yeah, that they're a pick 6 and Joe Flacco and the fighting Cleveland Browns having 6 total points on 2 field goals, very much in play.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. Because if this Packers defense looks as good as it did the first 2 weeks of the season, there's a very good chance this is a shutout. They pitch a shutout on Sunday.
Yeah,
I don't think the Browns would get to the Packers side of the field.
Just do the math here. Older and slower quarterback than the previous 2 we've seen. Worse offensive lines than the previous 2 we've seen, and more Micah Parsons than we've seen in the previous 2.
And
what's that a recipe for?
And it's a worse running game, might I add.
And
right?
worse pass-catching talent.
Yeah, Judy's good, but that's about it.
Correct.
Yeah. So
and even then, good. He's probably the 3rd best guy they've seen out of all of them.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. So, yeah, you're talking me out of it. I thought a chunk of my brain is like, first road test of the year. Vibes are a little weird. Cleveland desperately needs a win. They've got a pretty good defense, but you got to score points at the end of the day. And that's the part where I'm struggling to come up with how does Cleveland score points? And I think they don't.
Yes, yeah, I certainly think they are very live to score under 10 points this week. I just think there's so many factors working against them that, we've seen what Joe Flacco is like. He throws the ball to the other team a lot. The Packers team is searching for those. They are getting close. It seems like they are inches away from, he might get sacked 5 or 6 times. And what is that going to mean later in the game? And if they decide to pull Joe Flacco, well, here's a rookie who certainly doesn't seem to be ready.
Here's Dylan Gabriel, who, correct, did not look all that impressive in the preseason. Shedeur Sanders looked more impressive than him in the preseason, but they drafted him earlier, so they gave him the backup gig. And, I think to go back to our non-zero chance topic. I think there is a much more than non-zero chance that we see another quarterback not named Joe Flacco one way or another in that game, whether it's just they're sick of him and he's not doing enough, so they go to Dillon Gabriel. You never root for injuries, but again, he's old. Injuries happen. Or it's a blowout at the end of the game like we saw last week where Dillon Gabriel went in for the Browns. So I think there is very much a chance we see Dillon Gabriel on Sunday against the Packers. The Packers, very good defense. All right, real quick, just want to clean up on Jayden Reed, as we talked about a little bit on Wednesday. I was way more fascinated with Packers did the bowl, bruh, and his nonsensical Instagram live after his double surgery, double whammy on the foot and the broken collarbone suffered last week in the Thursday night football game against the Commanders. But there is a legitimate impact, obviously, when your leading receiver each of the last 2 seasons is not on the field for the foreseeable future, likely the next 3 months. Now, I think that presents a lot of opportunity for, A, Matthew Golden, and B, as you mentioned before, with Kraft out, Dontavian Wicks in a pass-catching perspective. And LaFleur gushed about Wicks' blocking ability. I think you mentioned that earlier. But also, the guy's been really steady as a pass catcher in 2025 after a year that was filled with drops and mistakes and miscues. It seems like Wicks has rebounded really well. So I'm intrigued to see him and Golden and how they step into the void left by the Packers' leading receiver from a year ago. I think those two are the main two that come to mind for maximized opportunity for the next couple of months.
Yeah, I think we've all been sort of waiting for the Dontavian Wicks appearance. The guy who we talked about, everyone talked about having all this opportunity and just sort of making mistakes and not being where he needs to, dropping the ball so consistently. I think we're going to see him tick up. I don't know if he's going to have more snaps than Matthew Golden, but I think they'll be closer to even, and I think we sort of see Matthew Golden in a slot role a lot more than we did. And Dontavian Wicks is a guy who, the reason he has so many targets is because he's always open.
Right.
The difficult part for him was bringing in the catch and converting the first down, which then makes you want to play him less and sort of look the other way. Even if he's open, it's, am I going to be able to convert this third down? And with the way he's looked early on, it seems like it's all systems go with him right now. And there's a potential here for some big opportunity and for him to cement himself and probably earn a role and push a guy like Romeo Doubs, who's become such their consistent option.
Steady Eddie, as you said earlier.
Yes. But I think in a perfect world, you want more than a steady Eddie out there playing the majority of the snaps. You want a guy who can take a 10-yard catch and make it 20. Or you want a guy who can be more successful down the field. It feels like Romeo Doubs is kind of a station-to-station guy. He'll convert, he'll make the catch, but there's going to be a defender there, and he's probably coming down right after it.
Yeah. It's a comparison I don't want to make, but I'm going to make.
Oh, boy.
We've made it before for Dontavian Wicks. It's Devontae Adams. He's the best route runner on this team, debatably. He had drop issues early in his career. And if he comes on the way we think he can come on without Jayden Reed on the field, and obviously no Christian Watson for the next couple of weeks, I'm not saying Dontavian Wicks will equal, peak of his powers Devontae Adams, but he could have a Devontae Adams-esque breakout, and he has a similar skill set. And that's the thing where I'm kind of looking at Wicks and the hole left by Reed and no Watson on the field. I look at Dontavian Wicks and I think, this could be a massive opportunity for the future of his career.
I will say I have already invested in some of the receptions and yardage overs for Dontavian Wicks.
Of course you have.
Because I'm a long-held believer, and this feels like the perfect opportunity. Both of the guys who've sort of been a thorn in his side in terms of earning snaps and routes aren't on the field. You add Matthew Golden, but he's still a rookie. And that all seems to be culminating. Like I just think simply the ball needs to go somewhere, and they might be without Kraft. How does he not have and get 5, 6, 7 targets in this game? Even if they're winning, I don't think they're going to move the ball on defense at will. It's not like this is a terrible defense. I do think they'll be able to take advantage of it. I do think Jordan Love is capable of sort of making them pay. But I don't think this is just going to be they score 3 touchdowns and pack it in and try and get to next week. I do think there's going to be a little bit of game here, but at the end, it's going to be another one of those. Probably the score doesn't tell you just how bad the Packers beat the Browns.
I mean, it feels like that was the score the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
The score didn't tell you how bad they beat the Lions. The score didn't tell you how bad they beat the Commanders. Now, the Commanders did pull it within one possession at the beginning of the fourth quarter, but, I mean, the Packers got the ball back, and it was the end of the game. Right? I mean, that's just how it went. So, very well could be the case again. We'll dive deeper into our predictions, obviously, coming up when we make our Week 3 picks with myself, Will, and Josh. And Hunter's off, but we have his picks as well, right, Will?
Yeah, we do.
All right, great. We will get to that in a bit. Just some cleanup on the ESPN Milwaukee and Madison YouTube chats. Chef Ed says, congrats, Joshy. Brian says, nice work, Josh. Brett says, congratulations, Josh. Well earned. The next Ashton Rotman. K. Strud says, congrats, Joshy. There you go. There's all your congratulations.
Have a great one, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, everybody. Keep up the good work, Josh.
Shout out to all my friends and the loyal members of the MIA. I appreciate the kind words.
Ron in the Key says, we've come a long way since I was offering you money to help me move my furniture, Josh. Since then, you've gotten an executive producer promotion. So I'm pretty sure a thank you, Ron, is somehow due.
Hashtag,
Thank you, Ron.
Hashtag thank you, Ron.
Hashtag thank you, Ron. Ron just pulled the ultimate Ben Brust and made your promotion about him.
Yeah. Hey, as much as we poke fun at Ben Brust, we all have a little Ben Brust in us somewhere. Some more than others, namely you. But yeah.
Yeah. Mike chimes in on who fills the gap with Romeo Doubs, and he says Romeo Doubs has a lot to earn, essentially. He goes on to say he is playing the season for a second contract, just with another team, which is true, and you're right about that, Mike. I think the Romeo Doubs, what'd you call him, Steady Eddie that I got hooked on?
Yeah.
He has been that steady Eddie. I use the term security blanket typically. He's become like that go-to man for Jordan Love and is now 30 years the starter, just because they've come up together, and that's a guy he's obviously comfortable with in third down situations and red zone situations, etc. Romeo Doubs has become that guy for Jordan Love. So when we talk about and gush about guys like Dontavian Wicks and Matthew Golden, who we do think are going to have elevated roles within the offense come a latter point of the season, I don't necessarily think that cuts in too deep to Romeo Doubs' snap count. I still think that's a guy who's going to be on the field. I still think that's going to be a guy Jordan Love looks to. But Mike is right. He's playing for a second contract. It just won't be in Green Bay after they extend Christian Watson a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I've always feel bad when I say Romeo Doubs just isn't that good.
Oh, wow.
He's a fine.
No parsing words there.
He's a fine third option. He's not going to blow us away with like his performance and the degree that he's open and the plays that he's making. He's going to be fine. He's going to be consistent. Right now through his career, he's kind of like a poor man's James Jones.
Yeah.
It's nice to have him, but he's not a guy that you sit down in the game plan every week and go, we got to get Doubs the ball. Nor is the other defense going, we got to make sure we know where Doubs is on every play.
Yeah. I'll just say this. Hoodie James Jones looked a hell of a lot cooler than Guardian Cap Doubs.
Yes. Even though we support
the Guardian Cap.
Of course.
Yeah. Of course. But they do look silly. I mean, we can all agree on that.
Yeah, they got to make them look cooler somehow. I don't know how, but they got to do it.
You know those little, they're not bobbleheads, but they're like little action figures with the big heads. I think they're called Funko Pops.
I'm familiar.
That's what Guardian Caps look like on NFL players.
What I don't understand is why they don't turn those into like a flexible rubber, like a shiny, to more simulate the helmet on the outside. I feel like you could keep the cushion and all that and just sort of dress it up different.
What everybody came here for, Guardian Cap discussion on Mr. Irrelevant, live from Blackhawk Country Club for the annual Putts for Pups golf outing. PuttsForPups.com. Any donation you make there goes straight to the Dane County Humane Society. We love dogs around here. We're a dog program. I've got Patricia. Joshy's got Russ. Will, you don't have a dog, right?
I am one. Woof.
It's a good one. I got a 2-dog weekend. I'm taking care of my friend's pup named Nala this weekend.
Shout out Nala.
Shout out Nala.
What type of dog is Nala?
She is a what's the golden retriever and poodle mix? What are those called?
Like a golden doodle?
Golden doodle. That's it. Yes, that's what she is.
Okay, so a lot of energy.
Yes. She's I think she's 8 years old and she's rambunctious.
Love it. Love to hear that. Hey, I act like I'm 8 years old, and I'm also rambunctious, so I hear you, Nala. All right, let's get to, real quick, Micah Parsons, because we talked about this a little bit this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, weekday morning, 7 to 9 on ESPN Milwaukee. But Micah Parsons has been asking for more snaps. Okay? Simple as that. He's off the injury report this week. The back injury, I use air quotes if you're listening on the audio side. The back injury kind of derailed him, and obviously learning the system. He's been playing about 50% of the snaps defensively, played a little bit more than that last week against the Commanders. He said he doesn't want to be on a snap count anymore, Joshy. And Matt LaFleur was asked if he's going to be on a snap count, and he just responded with a simple, "We'll see." Okay? I don't understand taking your best player off the field. It's something I struggle with. Now, obviously, a defensive lineman is not going to play every single snap. I get that. But 80%, 85% of snaps, is that unrealistic for Micah Parsons? Full go here in week 3?
I'd bet the target would probably be 75%. I still think you got to get your legs underneath you. As much as he was working on his own in the offseason, football shape is different than even the hardest you could work on your own. It's just a different world. You're being hit. You're being stopped by somebody. There's physically someone trying to stop you from progressing. So I think there's just no rush for me. I think we're going to see a ramp up, and if not this week, next week is going to be the full Micah Parsons. But he's never going to be a 95 to 100% snap player. I also don't think he'd be as effective if he were on the field that much. I think you use him wisely. He's certainly a guy that you want on the majority of snaps, the vast majority. Yep. But I bet probably the plan for him, even when he's fully healthy, is somewhere in that 80 to 85 range. Just because you have enough depth there with Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, and Kingsley Enagbare that you don't need to have a guy out there every single play and still have him make a massive impact on every single game.
Given the lack of studs on the Browns' offensive line and the lack of mobility of their quarterback, Joe Flacco, this seems like we finally get a multi-sack game. Maybe not from Parsons, but it could be Gary, it could be Wyatt, but somebody's getting a multi-sack game this week. Two flat or more, I mean. And I'm not counting 1.5, right? 2.0 or more, somebody's getting a multi-sack game this week.
I tend to agree with you. I think it's going to be feasting on Joe Flacco.
Well, let's do this. 4 sacks against the Lions, 4 sacks against the Commanders. How many against the Browns?
I think 5.5 or 6. I'll take the over on 5.5.
I would also take the over on 5.5. And I think they catapult themselves into first place for both quarterback pressures, which they already are in first place through 2 weeks, and team sacks. I think they overtake. I think it's actually the Browns who are in first place right now for the most sacks in the league. So I tend to agree. I'm just really curious to see on the other side, because the Browns also have a good D-line, how the Packers' offensive line with likely no Zach Tom, and Anthony Belton playing right tackle, how he holds up against a guy like Myles Garrett, especially if Tucker Kraft and Zach Tom are both out of this game. That changes significantly the complexity of the right side of your line.
Yeah, we might be seeing a lot more John Fitzpatrick than we ever thought we were going to. And he's sort of going to be the sacrificial lamb of, hey, go slow down Parsons and just slow him down at all. Be in front of him for some of the snap. We need you out there, and that's what we want from you.
In the spirit of doing what I did earlier, I think we're going to see more John Fitzpatrick than we expected to see.
Yep, sure
nice.
are.
Well, any thoughts?
Bold take.
Well, any thoughts? It was my original thought.
I'm going to go under 5.5 sacks, but I think they get right around 5. So, I mean, not a bad day by any means, but I don't know if they'll get 6.
We're getting to the point probably at some point in the season where teams are fully going to punt on letting Micah Parsons ruin the game. And the ball is going to be coming out just instantaneous. And we saw it a little bit against the Commanders, but I expect them to not allow Micah Parsons to tee off on them. And part of that has to do with how effective is the run game. The Browns just debuted Quinshon Judkins. They have Dylan Sampson, 2 rookies out there, and obviously Jerome Ford is there as well. but I don't expect them to be moving many of those bodies up front with the way Colby Wooden and Devontae Wyatt have been playing.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be forced into situations they don't want to be in, which is going to open up opportunity. But we're going to see a lot of quick stuff, throw to the edges, and just get the ball away from Joe Flacco's hands.
Remember in the offseason we were doing this whole ball king thing and how the team was forcing all these fumbles in the preseason and in training camp, and we were through 2 weeks and they have not forced a fumble yet? It seems like a young running back and an old quarterback is the perfect recipe to punch the ball out a couple times this week.
There's going to be some balls on ground.
All right, let's get to our Week 3 picks and our predictions. So do we have an updated record count, Will? I probably should ask you this before the show.
Yep, I already got it. I'm
man.
3-1. There's a 3-way tie for second place. Me, you, and Hunter are all 3-1. And,
Okay.
I mean, of course, he's 4-0.
Oh, my God.
Josh DiMaggio.
Yep. No big deal.
It just doesn't stop. He's good at everything. It's infuriating.
You know, sometimes you see things clearly.
The thing is, too, none of his picks have even, he hasn't had to sweat any of them.
No, he hasn't.
I had the Colts last weekend. They won on a last-second field goal. Hunter wins the Buccaneers one on the last-second touchdown drive. All of Josh's underdogs, all of his Packers picks, no sweat.
Fascinating. All right, well, I assume everybody's picking the Packers against the Browns, yes?
Packers.
Give me a score, Will.
I think it's going to be a little bit closer, whether it feels like it or whether the score reflects it one way or another. It's going to feel closer than it actually is, but I'm going to go 17-3.
Joshy?
I got 27-6 Packers.
We are in the same region. I think the Packers actually score over 27. They've scored 27 in each of their first 2 games this season. Joshy thinks they do it again. I think they get over 30 this week. I've got the Packers 31. One of those touchdowns will be defensive. 31-7 is my score prediction this week, as I think the Packers just continue to dominate and continue to show why they are considered right now the cream of the crop in the NFL. There's 4 teams that are considered there. The Packers are one of them, and I think, again, good teams beat up on bad teams. That's something the Packers do against what will be the 0-3 Browns this weekend. All right, let's get to our underdog picks. We're all 3-1, so we'll go first, and then Joshua will go last. Let's start with Hunter because I guess he can't adjust on the fly here. So, Will, Hunter's underdog pick this week.
Yeah, Hunter picked the Raiders against the Commanders in Washington, D.C. with the backup quarterback Marcus Mariota starting, as it was just reported.
Yes, or reported earlier today, Jayden Daniels, who, by the way, he never exited that game against the Packers on Thursday, did he?
No.
And now 10 days later, it's only been 8 days, but 10 days later, he's already ruled out for a concussion that was suffered in that game against the Packers. So hope he's all right, but that's always scary when you're 10 days out. And obviously concussions vary, but ruled out 2 days ahead of time, too, which is not typically what you see happen. On that front. So, all right, the Raiders over the Commanders 2.5-point favorites. Again, if you're just joining us for the first time in our picks, Joshy 4-0, Will, Hunter, and I all 3-1. We pick the Packers game just straight up, and then we pick an underdog that is an underdog in Vegas on the point spread. But you're picking them to win. You're not picking them to cover the spread. You're picking them to win. Hunter has the Raiders. Will, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Texans. I think they had 2 tough matchups to start the year, and now they're playing a Jaguars team that didn't really look great last year. C.J. Stroud struggled a little bit, but I still believe in their defense. Give me the Texans on the road underdogs.
I like it.
I think he's a chicken for not picking the Bears.
I also think he's a chicken for not
it's
picking the Bears.
Technically, they're still minus odds on the money line, so I'm not counting them as underdogs fully.
A mid-off going on Sunday at noon on CBS from U.S. Bank Stadium in Minnesota. Quarterback matchup of the century as Jake Browning leads the Bengals into Minnesota to take on Carson Wentz and the Vikings. Give me Jake Browning. I don't think that feel-good story ends quite yet from 2023 when he went on an awesome run. The Vikings are 2.5-point favorites. I've got the Bengals to advance to 3-0 heading into Week 4. Thanks to Jake Browning and the Bengals offense. They're going to allow points to Carson Wentz, but I think Jake Browning, with those tools around him, is going to have the opportunity to respond and win this game in Minnesota. By the way, that total is only 41.5. Give me the over. Give me the over on that game as well. But I've got the Bengals as this week's underdog pick for me.
I've got the boldest pick of the day here. I'm going the Los Angeles Rams on the road over the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Rams are a team everybody's going to end up talking about as a real Super Bowl like sleeper / contender. And I think that starts with a win on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles just don't feel like they've got everything going right on really either end of the ball right now. And I am going to take Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua to sort of take it to them and create some issues there. And I have the Rams, who are 3.5-point underdogs.
I like that pick too. With the refs, as reported by Adam Schefter last night, are going to tighten up on the tush push too. So might not be able to use that to their advantage as much as they have. The Eagles.
I think we need to ban tush push discussion from this program.
That wasn't really a discussion. It was more of a report.
Yeah, that was informative.
Sorry for just being capital J journalistic.
Yep.
Capital J journalistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just reporting facts.
Okay. Regardless, I think we're getting close to not banning the tush push, but banning tush push discussion on this program.
Well,
I think it should be up to the executive producer.
There will be no banning of the tush push. It's something that gets the people going. Also, the Packers play the Eagles. We can't not talk about the tush push.
We could talk about it that week. We could talk about it that week. I don't need to hear about it in your underdog pick.
I don't. Well, that was informative. It's more reason why the Rams are likely to win.
I was supporting my manager's good pick.
I can't believe you're going to manage Will. That's a portion of this I keep forgetting. I don't think that's a good idea.
What do you mean?
You guys are boys.
Yeah.
You can't be like drinking beers with them on Saturday and then telling them on Monday what to do.
Sure I can.
Will?
Yeah, I'd listen to him. I kind of have to.
Brian D and I share beers. Our manager here,
our director of content. Yeah, he's my manager too, and I've definitely had beers with him. So
there's no rule against it. There's certainly differences in the relationship, but it's not like Will and I live together or anything.
Oh, can we do that?
Isn't that the punishment for the loser?
Yes,
they have to live with.
Oh yeah, they have to stay. They have to stay at your apartment. I forgot about that.
Sleep on the couch.
So wild card weekend. Somebody's sleeping on Will's couch.
Yeah,
that's so good.
Maybe I'll get a dog by then too.
Yeah, we'll find out, I guess. All right, those are our week 3 picks. Will, recap Hunter's and yours.
Hunter has picked the Packers to beat the Browns and the Texans against the Commanders. Or sorry, that's my picks. I picked the Texans. I'm just reading. I made the graphic. I was just reading it in order. So I picked the Packers and the Texans against the Jaguars. Hunter has picked the Packers and the Raiders against the Commanders.
Got it. And I have the Packers to win, and my underdog pick was the Bengals to beat the Vikings.
Is this where I should say I have the Packers winning and the Rams over the Eagles because the officials start calling tush pushes the correct way?
Smooth chemistry by the executive producer. Those are our week 3 picks. At the end of the season, we will have a loser who will sleep on Will's couch during wild card weekend.
Dude, as part of that, do you have to do as Will would do, like on an average? Like, you have to go to the bars he wants to go to.
Yeah, you got to go to the bars he wants to go to. You got to eat eggs and beef for every meal.
Whoa. There's been a new development this week. We added rice.
Strouf, I've been telling Will.
You've been telling him to do that for months.
Months. And he said, I discovered rice recently. And I said, yeah, I've been telling you.
Discovered rice?
This is going to be my what we learned, but...
I mean, let's just get to it because I also want to talk Brewers and what we missed as I was at the game last night. So let's get to what we missed and what we learned, which is presented by our friends at Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. In Carlsville, just north of Sturgeon Bay. The weather is great this weekend. If you're heading up to Door County, you got to stop in at Door County Distillery and Door Peninsula Winery. Easy for me to say. They are connected. You can do the tours. You can do the tastings. You can check out the exclusive products. Only available there in Door County. But if not, no sweat. If you're in Madison, if you're in Milwaukee, if you're in Stevens Point, if you're in Eau Claire, if you're in Green Bay, Door County Distillery is by you as well. Check out their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Find the retailer nearest you for whether that's the cherry brandy, you're mixing up some old fashions, whether that's the single malt whiskey or the bourbon, having that on the rocks, or the rye, which is also delicious from their whiskey category, their whiskey portfolio. They've got gins, they've got rums, they've got vodkas, whatever you need. Door County Distillery has you covered to elevate whatever you got going on. Check out their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Use that search tool and check out the huge list of unique cocktail recipes. All right, Will, back to rice.
Yeah, so oftentimes around the office, mostly by Josh, I've been made fun of for the lunches that I bring from home. It's traditionally like a ground beef and eggs, ground turkey and eggs.
What do I call it?
Struggle meals. Josh calls them struggle meals.
They do look like struggle meals, and they are, by definition, struggle meals.
I put a little bit of hot sauce on there. Like I've seasoned it. Like it's not.
I
like,
think you
super
actually
plain.
just made your case worse.
Yeah. Classic, the expensive hot sauce that gets added to the top of it.
So anyways, I was thinking of some ways, how I could mix it up a little bit because I was starting to get tired of it. It was starting to get a little bland. So I decided when I was at the store to buy some rice. And I mixed some rice in it. It's been absolutely game-changing for me. So what we learned is I discovered rice is completely underrated and a great addition to any meal that you may have.
So the funny thing here is two of the cheaper things I can think of in terms of bringing you sustenance are rice and potatoes. Two things that would work perfectly with your little struggle meals you produce. When you open the door to starting to make some potatoes and dicing them up and baking those, you're going to experience a whole new world.
He's going to be a new guy.
The other part
dice them up, throw them in some olive oil, salt and pepper, toss them in the oven.
The other part was him discovering that rice is not only filling, but it's pretty nutritional.
And easy to make.
Yeah. And I said, why do you think rice is like the number one thing when people are in communities that have, or in countries that have like issues with filling up their citizens? They like enrich rice to make it even more healthy and provide vitamins. And
yeah,
it's like the evolution of rice is like one of the more important things to human society.
Did you ever play free rice growing up, Josh? You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah,
you solved math problems and they donated rice.
Huh.
Yeah. It's a good website we played in elementary school. Anyway, sorry, Will. Respond.
I was just saying it's still serving its purpose. I'm pumped I discovered it, and once I get tired of it, I'll probably transition to potatoes, and then the cycle will restart.
It's very funny to describe it as discovering rice, the way you discovered peanut butter and jelly like 3 years ago.
Yeah. I also discovered, me and Josh talked about this, peanut butter and jelly on a tortilla when you're out of bread.
And he denies the fact these are struggle meals?
That I can admit is a struggle meal. The other ones are more health-induced.
Chef Ed has offered his services on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat. He says, Will, do you want me to send you some recipes? You're cooking with Chef Ed.
I would love that, but keep in mind I don't like spending money on groceries, and I don't really have the time or the focus to spend an extended period of time making food.
What would you say you spend a week on groceries?
Like probably around, it's like $50 every 2 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
I just
hold on. What do you think you spend on alcohol on an average week?
More than that.
$50 in 2 weeks?
He is the epitome of 22 years old.
Are you withering away?
I still have a bunch of chicken and ground turkey left over from when I went to the grocery store like 2 weeks ago. And I have a lot.
Please tell me you put the chicken in the freezer.
Well, I just made it all in one sitting. Like all five. There's
you
five,
cooked it?
Yeah, there's like 5 chicken breasts, and I just made them all at once and then put them in the fridge.
But I wouldn't eat those left over after 2 weeks.
Tastes fine to me.
Joshy, I think we need to go live with him.
You guys just aren't as ambitious about your protein as I am.
Ambitious.
Is that part of the deal too? You have to eat my struggle meals?
Yes.
At least once.
Or let me cook for you, and we can actually eat real food.
This is awesome for me because if I lose, I just get to keep being me.
That's true.
That is.
Yeah. Wait. What happens if Will loses?
We should. Here it is. He has to cook us all a meal.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Family MIA dinner.
Yeah.
Does it have to be good?
And one lucky fan is invited.
It needs to be 3-course meal. It cannot contain.
Jeez.
It cannot contain rice nor eggs.
Okay, so chicken and beef still on the table. Ground turkey.
Chicken and beef on the table. Unbelievable. Ron in the Key says, Will, I spend $50 plus on DoorDash each night. That's a confession, not a brag.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's. I think the meal has to be an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert, and you have to prepare them all.
That might be worse than living with me. Like 100%. Of the three of you guys, who do you think would hate it the most?
Hunter.
I would agree.
Well, he also has tummy issues, so you'd have to cook around his specific needs.
Chef Ed chimes back and he says, Will, ramen noodles are under $1.
I don't like ramen noodles.
Well, that's the problem.
At my apartment, I have a curved TV. If that changes anyone's mind about how great it might be to live with me.
Curved TV?
Yeah, it's curved.
I don't even know what that means.
It's those ones where it's just like slightly curved in on the edges to
Does that enhance the viewing experience?
apparently.
From different angles.
If anybody is watching Mr. Relevant on a curved TV, please take a picture and tweet it at me, at Alex_Strouf. I would appreciate to see what that looks like.
You doing a lot of gaming on that thing?
No, I need to sell my Xbox. I haven't used it. It's just collecting dust right now. There are 2 white spots on the TV, though. That's very annoying when you're watching football.
Hold on. What does that mean? What do you mean white spots?
Like they're like burn marks on the TV, like when you leave it on for
The
too long.
pixels burnt out.
Yeah,
How long have you had the TV?
years. Like it was my family's at home, and then they gave it to me when they were done with it and got a new one. So it's been around for a while.
If you add a couple ramen meals to your ledger there, you could have a new TV in no time.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, I want to get to the Brewers quick because I was there last night as the Brewers complete the sweep of the L.A. Angels Thursday night at American Family Field. No DJ Diesel, DJ Shaq post-game concert like we were promised, but still a heck of an outing for Quinn Priester, who strikes out the first 6 batters he sees. He finishes with 10 strikeouts, and it is just the most truly remarkable statistic in baseball this year. The Brewers have won 19 games in a row when Quinn Priester starts the game. 19 games in a row. And he left the game again last night down a run, but he kept him in a position to obviously strike back, down 2-1 when he was pulled from that game. But 19 games in a row, they have won every game he has pitched since Memorial Day. That's just truly insane. It's middle to end of September, and they are still winning every time Quinn Priester pitches. It's truly remarkable, and that's a stat I can't get over. But here's where I'm at. The Brewers have a 3-game lead now on the Philadelphia Phillies for the top seed in the National League. They have a 5-game lead on the Cubs. We can go ahead and call the NL Central race over. It is over. The Brewers have once again won the NL Central. Congratulations to them. When it comes to the National League and that top seed in the NL, we're getting pretty close to calling that one over. Like, we might be back on Monday, and I might call that over. I'm not ready to call it over quite yet, but I think if the Brewers go 3-6 over their last 9, they've still got a really good chance to clinch the NL. Because now the Phillies' schedule is not tough. It's not. They've got down and out opponents other than the Diamondbacks, who are technically still in it, but technically not really. They've got to play almost perfect baseball. And that would help the Brewers significantly if the Diamondbacks do. But I don't see a realistic path with both the tiebreaker and the 3-game lead for the Phillies to catch up to the Brewers with only 9 games remaining. But I'm not ready to call that one over. However, I will call the NL Central over. Joshy.
Totally agree. I think it's probably been over for longer than your pronouncement today. The Brewers, seemingly every time the Cubs seem to show life, the Brewers just stomp them out, and that's been the case for the better part of like 3 months now.
Sure has been.
I think the first round bye for the Brewers is a foregone conclusion at this point. What I'm not sure about is that first seed you would love to have home field throughout the duration of the playoffs. I do not think it's by any means anything for us to get too upset over. It's not uncommon for some favorites to lose in those divisional series. So
yeah.
You would love to have home field. You would love to have games of such meaning at AmFam Field. But the biggest thing to me is just get out of that damn wild card round, and it looks like we're going to be there. And that, to me, means so much. It's going to help with the health of some of the guys, maybe give opportunities to figure out who's going to work where, how often they're going to be able to contribute. So to me, it's all good news, and I think the sweep of the Angels was much, much needed, especially with the Padres not far down the schedule here. And it's not like the Cardinals are nobodies. They're not as good as we once remember them as, but they'll take 2 or 3 or sweep you if you give them the opportunity.
Agreed, but I just feel really, really good about where we're at.
Yeah.
Heading in, and we talked about it this morning. I would love to see the Brewers get 100 wins. They'd have to go 6-3 in their final 9. Just break the franchise record. I don't really care about the cool round number of 100, but just
Yeah,
Just throwing
that
out
number would be awesome. I'd love for it to be, but yeah, the breaking the record, I think this team deserves all the accolades that would come with the setting a new standard in terms of best regular season team in Brewers history.
All right, want to get to some final thoughts and whatever Will missed in terms of vocabulary today on this fine Friday ahead of Packers-Browns. But want to remind you, I am at Blackhawk Country Club in Madison for the annual Putts for Pups golf outing. It's a golf fundraiser which benefits the Dane County Humane Society. You can donate at their website. It's putsforpups.com, P-U-T-T-S for pups, P-U-P-S.com, and it is F-O-R, not the number 4. So puts4, F-O-R, pups.com to make a donation to the Dane County Humane Society, as we are a dog-loving show, dog-loving podcast around here. And now we go to our resident dog. Will, what'd you miss?
So I didn't hear any words that I didn't know today, so I have a word for you guys, actually. So
fun.
Tables have turned.
Wow.
The word today is ebullient.
Nibulant?
Ebullient. Ebullient.
Ebullient.
Ebullient.
Okay, so I thought you said a different word. What's the word?
Not going how I thought it would go. Josh,
What's the word?
What's the word?
Ebullient.
Ebullient.
Okay, Will, what does that mean?
Well, you guys have to guess.
Yeah, we need you to
I don't
guess.
know.
I know what it means.
Ebullient. Can you use it in a sentence?
That's for Josh to do.
She sounded, I literally pulled it up to make sure I have the definition right. She sounded ebullient and happy.
So
Yeah.
I would guess joyful would be my guess.
Cheerful and full of energy.
Yep. Overflowing with enthusiasm, excitement, or energy. High-spirited.
Hold on. What's the context of you bringing up this word?
Friday.
Did you read it?
Yeah. I just looked up some words of the day. I figured I'd turn the tables
Oh,
around.
so you didn't hear somebody say this. You didn't read it. You just looked up dictionary.com and saw what the word of the day was?
Well, yeah, I found it. It wasn't like an actual word of the day. I just looked through like the past words of the days and then found one that looked
And then
interesting.
you never bothered to figure out the pronunciation of said
Well,
word that
it
you
says
found.
it, and I said it in my head, and I was like, "Oh, I could pull that off." And then once it started, my lips started moving. It didn't sound how I thought it would in my head.
All right. Heck of a show. Episode 300 of Mr. Irrelevant is in the books. Congratulations once again to JOSHY, executive producer of ESPN Milwaukee. We're happy for him. Congratulations to Will on being the dumbest man I know. Can't wait to sleep on his couch on Wild Card Weekend. It's going to be a blast. Ebullient. Hey, Will, send us out with an ebullient tone.
We're gonna have an ebullient time at my apartment for the loser.
We'll talk to you on Monday. We'll react to all things Packers, Browns, and the weekend that was for the Brewers, starting at 12:30, ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison on YouTube. Thanks to everybody at Blackhawk Country Club for having me out. For Putts for Pups, putsforpups.com. We will talk to you Monday. I'll talk to you Sunday, pregame for Green Bay Game Day, beginning at 9 a.m. on ESPN Wisconsin 620 WTMJ for Green Bay Game Day. And we'll recap the game Monday, beginning at 12:30 right here on Mr. Relevant on episode 301. We'll talk to you then. Peace.